Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of my Megapark. Now, in this episode, I want to do lots of little things that I didn't do in the last few episodes. Basically, just lots of nice little detailing, just to make every area look a little bit better. And there's just so many little things that I can do to improve this park. I will now just first start off with doing some recoloring of the land here in the water. And speaking of water, I also want to tackle this area right near the entrance. Alright, I think that already looks a lot better. Just having some sand under the water just makes it look a little bit brighter. And I think it looked kind of weird because here I already had sand under the water and here I didn't. There was sort of a difference between the two, or between the different water areas. But right now, looks a lot better in my opinion. Alright, now it's time to tackle the shore area. What I think I will do here is just make the land look a little bit more irregular, and in the deeper parts I will also give the sand a bit of a darker color, and that should make the water look even deeper in those parts. I think it will be a nice contrast. Okay, I think it looks a bit more natural now. I will probably do some more work on it later, because I'm not really satisfied yet with how it looks. Anyway, something else I really want to tackle is that I think there's a bit of a lack of bright colors in the park. So I'm gonna change the color scheme of this coaster to something a little bit more bright. Alright, I kinda like this color scheme. It reminds me of the old Goliath in Walibi Holland. I really liked the colors that roller coaster used to have. Alright, something else that I should probably tackle is that the hotel, I think it looks quite small for a park this size. So what I'll do is I'll just add a few floors to this hotel. Alright, the hotel can host a lot more people now. I might build some other hotels throughout the park, but I don't want to have too many because these buildings greatly add to the number of objects in the park. And of course we have this object limit that we have to contend with in a park of this size. Alright, something else I should really add to the park is benches, lamps and litter bins. The good thing about these objects is that they pretty much become part of the path object, so they don't add to the object limit. So yeah, having these to decorate the paths is a really good way to make them look a lot nicer. When placing these objects, I typically place them at T-junction paths, because it generally doesn't make sense to have, for example, two litter bins on each side. Let me show you what I mean. So if we have a single path, if we have two litter bins like this, to me that doesn't really make sense. So that's why you will always see me place them at T-junction, so only one litter bin gets placed. For these benches, I'm trying to place them in areas where guests would have a nice view of something. For example, from these benches the guests would be able to watch these dancing tigers, or from these benches the guests would be able to watch the dancing elephants. I'm not placing any benches here, because here they would just be in the way for guests who want to watch the tigers. But yeah, it's most people probably won't even pay attention to this while viewing the park, but it's just little details that I like to add to the park. Now, something people often forget to place in the park is lamps. I think lamps are a great way to decorate your paths, so you should definitely not forget to place those. I especially like these lamps. I think they're from the pirate set. Yeah, these generally look great everywhere. Sadly, path objects don't work on invisible paths. There's just one way to place path objects on an invisible path, and it only works for lamps. Because in OpenRollCast Tekken 2 you can put lamps on queue lines. Not sure if you can also do it in the vanilla game, but if you have a queue line and you turn it into a T-junction, the path becomes invisible, but the lamp stays. Let's do that again. So yeah, as you can see, we have an invisible path here. but the lamp is still visible. But I think it will be a little bit too much effort to turn this entire path into Q-line T-junctions, so I'm not going to do that. Alright, I think there were enough path objects added to the paths for now. Something else I want to do now is to place some extra rides here in the playground area, and I want to decorate this maze here a bit. Okay, I think this already makes the kiddie area look like a much more joyful place. I removed some of the path because I think they were a bit too wide and it just looked like a sea of path here. But with the addition of this merry-go-round and this spiral slide, yeah, I'm really starting to like the way this area is looking. Alright, the next thing I want to do is connect all the stations of the monorail. I'm not gonna make station buildings yet because yeah, I want to make them fit to the area in which they will be, in which they are. The area will later be themed, so I'll want the monorail to look sort of similar to the rest of the buildings in their respective areas. Alright, yeah, it's now year 22, so I think it's about time we finally connected. Again, I'm not gonna rotate the entrances and exits on the monorail stations, because if I did, I would have to rebuild them every time I changed the track layout. Because if you change the track, then rotated entrances and exits will have to be rebuilt, and that's really annoying if they're inside a building. So yeah, I will just make some simple paths to connect it to the main path. Alright, the monorail is now finally opened after 22 years. The downside to this is that as guests ride it, they will be distributed throughout the park, and in this area and this area there's not really much for them to do. So yeah, they will probably complain more about getting lost. But yeah, it's just something I will accept. Okay, there's something else I want to add to the pirate area, which is a pirate ship. And I mean the attraction. So yeah, some people commented that there's not many flat rides in my park, and that is true. That's mostly because there's only a few to choose from, and I want to make sure that all of these flat rides end up in a themed area which they fit in. So yeah, the pirate ship of course will fit well in a pirate area. So I'll just make a little pirate ship here and try to put some scenery around it to make it look really nice. Alright, and now finally I'm gonna go through the park and just touch up any areas that still look a bit rough on the edges, and do some landscaping and add some little trees. I kinda wanna use this area to build something, but I'm not really sure what I want to build here. So if you have any suggestions, just let me know in the comment section. One way to make your paths look nicer is usually by just painting a different color of land under them. Right now I'm using the dirt grass combination under this brown path. It's quite subtle, but I think it generally makes the path look a lot better. Alright, that was it for today. Well, yeah, this episode was not as spectacular as previous episodes where I built a coaster, but I think the landscaping is really just as important as building coasters. I mean, in the end, it's all about the little details that make a park really look good. Alright, I still hope you enjoyed the episode, and I will see you again in the next one. See you later.